All right, here with the IBF featherweight champion of the world, Angelo Leo, and it's a big night, man. The money man around these divisions, Inoue is fighting tonight. Did you come to watch him fight? What brings you to the fight, Angelo?
Yeah, just enjoying a great night of boxing. You know, you got Inoue fighting, of course, and then you also got Espinosa. He's also in my division, and yeah, just here to enjoy a great night of boxing.
If you had to say, what do you think is the more likely buildup you're headed towards? Is it Espinosa and a unification, or is it Inoue, who said earlier this week 26 will be his last weight class and he wants to be undisputed?
Yeah.
Which one do you think is more likely in the plans?
Either one. You know, both of them sound very appetizing to me. Espinosa, you know, he's got the Mexican crowd, and Inoue, you know, he's got a big following and a big fan base, and he's, you know, pound for pound one of the best. Either one, to be honest.
If you could have either one, if you had your choice, who is the one you'd pick?
I'll pick Inoue, yeah, because he's the top dog in boxing, and I'm gonna be the top dog in boxing. So in order to do that, you gotta fight the best.
And when you talk about Inoue, and you talk about the best, the first thing that comes to mind when you think about him is those first couple of rounds. He comes out kind of like a storm.
Mm-hmm.
Moving up in weight classes, it has been the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
At 26, a lot of people expect the same. What's the difference between 26 and 22?
There's a big difference, you know. There's a big difference. There's weight classes for a reason. I know he's coming down from a smaller weight class, so he doesn't have a big frame on him. Not to negate nothing from him. He's gonna be fast. He's always been a fast fighter, but I just think you know, the power difference. There's a big difference in power. And that could be a factor in the fight.
Angelo, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Have you in the past to yourself compared you and Inoue potentially to Pacquiao-Marquez?
Possibly, yeah, possibly. We got different styles, but it seems like we both could counter really well, and it could look something like that. You never know.
Yeah, some little grin there. Right? Trying to keep it to yourself. We don't want that. But well, let me try, and then you know you could shut it down if you think it's getting too in depth about the X's and O's. But you mentioned the counter punching. Do you think that's what you got to be able to do to beat this guy, to beat Inoue? You have to be a good counter puncher.
I think so. It's gonna be a chess match in there for sure. A high level chess match. You know. There's some flaws I see in him, and I'm sure he sees in me. But I know if I drill these things right, I know I could get the victory.
But is that just enough when you talk about a guy like Inoue, who is drilled to the T himself? Mm-hmm. I talked to Nonito down there yesterday. We both did. Nonito said something that stuck out to me that was special about him. He said that everybody talks about the punches that he throws, but he can take more than he gives. That he had the best poker face that he'd ever seen out of any fighter.
Yeah.
So that he's durable, not just like I guess Nonito is saying, like it's rare that a fighter's super talented and super durable too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, what do you think of Nonito's assessment of that? I guess?
That's a great assessment, to be honest. A poker face is something that you need in boxing, especially when you get hit with a great shot. You got to be able to stay, you know, maintain your cool and be calm, and collective, and that's a great attribute. But I think over the rounds, you know, you'll start to see, you know, them wither if the power is there, and if not, you're racking up points, whether you want to believe it or not, but you're racking up points every time you hit them.
Are you looking at, because you're going to Japan to defend the title against Kameda?
Absolutely.
Are you looking at that like, hey, I got to make a statement, make these people want to demand me come back here for the big one?
Exactly. I think making a statement out there will put the Japanese boxing community on notice and let them know who I am. I'm sure they already know who I am, but even more then. And you know, it could be a potential, you know, like a potential match with Inoue, you know, knowing that I'm in Japan defending my title, it could lead that way.
We know styles make fights, but sometimes the fans try to do math. They'll be like, okay, well, Fulton beat Leo, Inoue beat Fulton. How does Leo beat Inoue? What would you say to that?
I mean, it's like the whole triangle
theory,
you know. But you see in boxing, if you know boxing, that's been debunked many times. Right now, I can't think of one off the top, but there's plenty of times where, you know, 3 fighters, you know, and they're just, you know, look, Ryan
Rowley,
you know, and Tank, you know,
just saw it.
all that right there.
Yeah, Ali, Frazier, Foreman. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, you can name a few.
Do you feel like fighting Venado, like that was a huge experience to get you ready for a guy like Inoue, like a guy who relies on his athleticism a lot? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. A little different style, but I think I'm ready for whoever. You know, I train for every type of style, and I'll be ready for Inoue when the time comes.
Lastly, bro, you a fan of some Japanese culture? You got like you looking forward to defending the title out there? Get to an arcade out there with, you know?
Yeah, of course. You know, Japan is somewhere I always wanted to be and visit, and it's gonna be a great experience. I love the food of Japanese food. I love the culture out there, so it's gonna be a great experience.
You got a little bit of Chinese roots too, right?
I do a little bit, yeah. Not Japanese, you know, but
Yeah,
it's Asian.
Yeah.
I guess you could say.
So, hey, thanks, Angelo.
Of course, thank you.
Brother. Thanks, man.